Welcome to the Talk Sip. I'm your host, Alisa Bowens-Mercado. I am so excited because we have a wonderful show for you today. Oh, yes, I am in my element. And today, joining me on the Talk Sip, I have three very, very, very dear friends. And we all have something in common. We have the beer brewing industry in common. So, folks, I am beyond ecstatic to be hosting the show, and we're going to dive in a second. But just want to let you know you are listening to the Talk Sip. So sit back, relax, as we serve you up a tasty mix of talk radio. All right, let's get at it. All right, I think I'm going to have to turn my mic down before I don't have like a left eardrum. Am I controlling this? No, you are? I gotta bring it down a little bit. Check. Better. Okay. All right. So here we go. All right, folks. So thank you, Harry. It's in there. No, well, now I can't hear myself. Check. All right. I'm not getting any. This is radio. Thanks. I mean, it's TV, but we hello. The crew is here. Yes. You'll be able to sneak in. Yes. Yes. I think I can hear something. I don't. Yeah. All right. There we go. All right. So we are all cozied up now. And again, you're listening to the Talk Sip on 103.5 FM WNHH. We're broadcasting live from downtown, the beautiful, beautiful downtown New Haven. We're streaming live on TuneIn Radio and the New Haven Independent.org. And we are also streaming live video on Facebook Live. So make sure that you tune in. But today's show, again, as I preface this in the intro, we're talking about the craft beer industry in Connecticut.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And I have Phil from the Connecticut Brewers Guild.
So good to see you.
I have my Alisa from Hop Culture Farms and Brewing Company, and also from the Pink Boot Society in Connecticut. And then I have my Instagram friend, Five Church Girl, Beauty of the Beer, who's joining us. And ladies and gentlemen, we so you've got the best of the best in the brew industry sitting here with me today, seriously, because we're going to be talking about women in craft beer. We're going to be talking about people of color in craft beer and just diversity as a whole in craft beer. So I'm just excited to have you all on because you are also just very knowledgeable of the industry. So let's actually, Phil.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm doing
You're
well.
no stranger to the Talk Sip. You've been on before. We were talking about some, I think the last time you were here, there was a mandate that was coming. You want to give Connecticut like an update of what happened with that?
Yeah, we actually had the biggest law changes to the Connecticut liquor laws since Prohibition.
Yay.
So 74-page bill that got approved overwhelmingly in both the House and the Senate. We had
Nice.
Probably about a 98% approval rate, which was insane to think about that. We had that much support from all of these state legislators and representatives at the Capitol. And so what that bill did was it increased the amount of beer that breweries can sell direct to the consumers for off-premise consumption. So for beer to go, it was 9 liters, which only got you 1 case of 12-ounce cans and only 19 16-ounce cans.
Right.
Didn't even fill up a case. A lot of people who visit a lot of the breweries would go in, love the beer, want to take it home, whether it's for a wedding, July 4th barbecue, just beer shares, general Sundays, watching football, whatever it is.
Right.
And would want to share it, and they couldn't buy. They would have to come back the next day or have their friend come in. So we increased that to 9 gallons, which is just about 300% more.
Awesome. And you guys pushed and you got that done, which was great for brewers in Connecticut.
Absolutely. So you can buy now up to 3 cases of 16-ounce cans or 4 cases of 12-ounce cans. And it just massively opens the door for a lot of these brewers. That will give a lot of more direct-to-consumer sales so they can reinvest in their businesses, add more jobs, just have a lot more brand awareness out in the community. And so it's really huge that we were able to pass that. We were working with a lot of the distributors, wholesalers, restaurants, bars, package store associations over the past year, and we really got everybody on the same page to approve that.
Got it. Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. How many breweries are there in Connecticut right now? So okay, so let's go back.
What week is it? Like
I know, right? Like we got 10 more added just this morning.
Yeah.
But let's go say 2000 from 2000, let's say 16.
Yeah.
Okay. To present day, how many breweries are there in Connecticut, and what has it doubled? Has it?
Yeah. So since 2016, we've doubled. We had about 45 breweries in the state around 2016, and now we're pushing 95.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and we have those are open, and we have about 20 to 30 more in the planning process. So
how many?
20 to 30.
That's amazing. Right
It's
here
incredible.
in Little Old Connecticut.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're gonna put them all.
I know, where are they gonna go? You're gonna have people knocking on people's doors, going, "Can I use your backyard?"
Right.
I want to set up shop. So, Alicia,
Yeah.
so and you've been in the industry, for how many years now?
4 or 5 years now, I think.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And have you seen the trend of the breweries popping up? And more importantly, I mean, you're one of the very few women in the industry. And I remember when I was literally, looking into Connecticut and going, all right, I want to do this. Your name would pop up and I would have names of females. And I'm like, those are like my mentors. Those are people that I need to reach out to. And then I met, you at I think we were at No Worries. And we were at No Worries, and I was hanging out with my beer consultant, Tom Eccles, that, just kind of brought me around. And I really got to meet some incredible folks. So Alicia from Hop Culture.
Yep.
And then also the Pink Boot Society. If you could just, let us know what you've been doing in brewing for 5 years.
Yeah. So I started out at Stubborn Beauty Brewing in Middletown, Connecticut. So just as a volunteer. And then I started doing extra stuff for them. Just behind the bar and like tasting room manager things. And I was like, let's keep this going, but you need to pay me if you want me to stay. Like I need to be able to make some money on this too.
Right.
And so I just kind of helped wherever I could. So I became the tasting room manager there. Jumped in and helped occasionally with brewing and stuff, but really like the event planning and that's my jam. I love people. I love talking to people.
That's you.
I'm a teacher. I'm a full-time teacher. So this is like my side gig where I get to talk to adults. It's really nice. So that's,
you go
I
from
really
Goo
enjoy that.
You go from Goo Goo Gaga to where's the beer? Where's the brew?
Exactly. Yeah. So over the course of the last 5 years, I've made the transition from Stubborn Beauty to Hop Culture Farms, which just opened in Colchester, which is where I live. It's 10 minutes from my house. It's fabulous.
Awesome.
They are a working hop farm and a brewery. And I also started running the Connecticut Pink Boots chapter a couple years ago, and I'm also the secretary for the Brewers Guild. I've been doing that for 2 or 3 years.
Huge shout out to you. Thank you.
Yeah, just a few things.
I am the only, just a couple. I'm the only female on the board right now for the Brewers Guild, which is huge, and we're really pushing to try to get more women. I've been inviting all of the Pink Boots members to the guild meetings and the socials.
I will be there.
Yes, I'm like,
I'm
I don't want to
coming
be the
soon.
only girl in the room.
Yeah, right. And so, how is Pink Boots? Your involvement in Pink Boots, and because you are the chapter, pres, and you're running the state of Connecticut, are you seeing a trend of women, popping up?
Yeah.
Is it, are we brewing? Are we, we're brand owners now. We're brewing, and so you're seeing, the head brewmasters.
Yep.
What's the trend of women in the industry that you're seeing?
So it's been a huge shift since when I started. I remember when I first joined the industry, and even when I was on the guild board, it was me and Lisa from Thomas Hooker Brewing, and that was kind of like
that was it.
There weren't very many of us, and since I took over the Pink Boots chapter with Jobina, she's from Epicure Brewing, she's the CFO there.
Shout out to Jobina.
Shout out to Jobina. So she and I have noticed a huge growth just in Connecticut and Pink Boots alone. When we started, I think there were less than 10 chapter members. And now we're well over 30, the two of you included, which is amazing.
I'm a new member of Pink Boots. I've got my boots.
Yeah, and so we are seeing women who do pretty much everything. Some women are beer tenders, and they know the beer styles and can sell you a beer, and they know exactly what they're talking about. Some are brand owners, like you said. Some are head brewers.
Right.
Some are amazing photographers and do the social media aspect. Some of us are event planners and branding and marketing, and it's really a little bit of everything, which I think is amazing.
Right.
There are definitely more female brewers in the state now, which is awesome. Hop Culture, where I work, we have a female brewer. So she's like the president and the brewer, and it's incredible to see us kind of start to slowly, move into some of these positions that we weren't in before.
And that's amazing. And I think it opens doors, for women to come in, and then we'll be talking about diversity as far as people of color in the industry, which is a huge demographic that the craft beer industry has not. We're breaking through that ceiling,
Yeah.
which we are so excited about that. But before we would go to a craft beer festival, and the women were just kind of like following along behind their boyfriends or their husbands, and the husbands were like, "We're going to drink beer all day," and they're like, "I want to go shopping." Now you've got women like literally following. We're making some inroads. Beauty of the beer, Melissa. It's so good to have you. Five
Thanks for
Churches.
having me.
The love, and shout out to the crew over there. Love the brewery. Have been there, and
That's right.
it's
Austin's
just
was
amazing.
nice.
Yeah. So, how did you get into the craft beer world, and what was some of your influences? Like, where did it start for you?
Yeah, sure. So I think, I went to college right near Omegang. So that was the start of this sort of journey for me. It's just right up the road.
Right.
That was the biggest influence. And then, relocated to Connecticut, and here are all these things to do. There's breweries to visit. And I am into marketing and taking pictures, and that set me on this path of, I can really help these breweries get exposure by taking pictures and telling people where to go when they come to visit me or just come general. And so that's how it started for me. And it just sort of spun into this thing of, okay, so whenever I go somewhere, I'm taking trips, I'm going across the state, I'm going to visit a brewery, I'm going to tell people about my experience, so now that they know about it. And then Five Churches opened their brewery, and I said, "Look, let me help you do this thing."
You're like, "Hey,
That's
how are
right.
you?"
That's right. Let me help you do this.
And were
So,
you always a beer drinker?
yeah, it's funny. I yes and no, right? So I drank
Okay.
Omegang in college, but I really sort of leaned towards wine, which set me on this sort of journey with wild ales, and that's where I thrive. That's
That
my passion.
whole
Mhm.
passion. That's
That's
amazing because you talk to people at these beer festivals, and they're just like, some people are like, beer. They're like, beer just became their like new favorite. So it's just like, some people are like, "Oh, I was a wine drinker, or I
That's
drank
right.
vodka or whatever." But beer is, there's so many different flavors for every different palates, and women are getting into a ton of sometimes people want like flavor, but sometimes they don't. They just like, just give me a stout, or just give me a pilsner, or just give
That's
me a
right.
lager.
Beer that tastes
Yeah.
like beer.
Beer
that's
that tastes like
new,
beer.
right?
Oh,
We
this
just
tastes
want a
good.
beer. So that's a wonderful thing about like finding out like someone's first experience, especially women of like that weren't beer drinkers, and they convert themselves after running around all these beer festivals. They're like, I might as well, if I can't beat them, I'm going to join them. But now
That's right.
that kind of philosophy.
Yeah.
We're going to take a 1 minute break, and then when we come back after the break, what we're going to do is we're going to get into the piece of diversity in Connecticut, where it was, where it is now, and where it is going. And we're just really excited. And so we will be right back. Don't forget, you're listening to 103.5 FM WNHHLP. We are broadcasting live from downtown New Haven. You can find us on Facebook Live. We will be back in 2. All right. Welcome back to the Talk Sip. I'm your host, Alisa Bowens-Mercado. Don't forget, you join me every Thursday at 1 p.m. as we talk arts, culture, music, and I'm talking about my favorite. Today, besides my salsa dancing, I'm talking about brewing. Yes, I have glided onto the craft beer floor, I guess, when I decided about a year ago to launch Rhythm Brewing Company. And we're just excited, first African-American and first African-American female to have a beer brand in the state of Connecticut. And I just want to just preface this conversation by saying that we have been really met with open arms in the industry. It's one of probably the nicest industries that you can ever get in. I mean, come
Absolutely.
on, nice people, and you get to drink beer. It's just it's been incredible. We have had some adversity, which is that you find that in any business, but that's why we are going to get into the where we're going with diversity, with females and people of color in the craft beer industry. And it's amazing because we are hosting in a fantastic, very talented group of film producers here that are working on a documentary. There was two actually, A Fresh Perspective. I actually went last year to Pittsburgh. It was the first ever beer festival for people of color. It was incredible.
Absolutely.
I think there was 10 or 15 of us, and we literally were able to just tell our stories, meet each other, bond. I met my mentor, my brew goddess, Celeste Betty from Harlem Brewing, and like meeting her it was almost like I was meeting like a rock star.
Yeah,
because I wanted to meet the first African American female that brewed beer in the history of the country.
Yeah.
African American female who brewed beer. And I'm just like, when I met her, I was just like, and then meeting her, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's like so cool. She's like so mild mannered. I'm like all excitable. And I'm just like, hi, Celeste. My husband's like, he's like, okay, you can close your mouth now. But we laugh because I'm just like, that's Celeste from like Harlem Brewing. I'm like, that's so cool. I'm like, oh my God. And then we just we bonded. We like, we were just like it was awesome.
Yeah.
So shout out to Celeste. So we were there in Pittsburgh, and that's when we met Aaron Jose, and literally we were able to talk to him about his project. And he was, they were in Pittsburgh going, we haven't seen this. Black people brew beer, or people, Latinos are brewing beer, people of color are brewing beer. And yes, it was just exciting to see people to your left and to your right, that look like you that were brewing beer. But the beauty of it was people were collaborating. Yeah. They were taking the people from Pittsburgh, the brewers that were already set up, and they were doing collabs. And so you had a sea of, it was like the United Nations at this beer festival. And I'm like, this is what beer festivals should look like.
Absolutely.
That's what beer festivals should look like. You turn to your left, there were women. There were, female brewers, black brewers, white brewers, Latino brewers. It was incredible. We had people from the LGBTQ community out and supporting. So I'm just like, you know what? That just really gave me a newfound respect for just the industry, but seeing that there is a wave of folks, that are just doing their thing. And because some people are like, no, this is like a white guy bearded, industry. And we're like, okay, like maybe, even for the women, I'm like, I'm not growing a beard, dude.
No, so many beards.
I'm like, I'm just not, I'm not doing that.
I will say, I had this before I got into the industry.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm not, that's one thing I'm not doing in the industry. I'm not going to grow a beard, so I'm good. But so from going to Pittsburgh and then, meeting with the production crew, there's a need in the country for awareness of diversity. So Phil, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah.
Where do you see like Connecticut Brewers Guild, you haven't seen it before, but now, we're making inroads. Where do you see, and going, and how can the Connecticut Brewers Guild kind of help to maybe diversify the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that it's at the forefront of our objectives and missions for this year, is to create more diversity and inclusion. And that's something that we've been working on in the past year. And especially, the Guild's been around since 2012 when this industry really started exploding. And I've been involved with the Guild now for 2 years. And that's something, just building awareness of our organization first, And then now we're kind of cultivating and prioritizing more of our objections of being more diverse, being more inclusive. And to Alicia's point before, she when I got started, we had Lisa and her on the board. She's now the only female on the board, but I've been having meetings. We have our board of elections coming up in March. The only people I've talked to have been females who've been interested in coming on the board. Nobody else.
Girls. Right.
Totally.
Your meetings are gonna get a hold, right? Because listen,
they're gonna be so organized.
Oh,
now.
they're gonna.
You're right. I'll come in and do a little salsa lesson before.
Perfect.
We'll
Get the blood flowing.
We'll get the blood flowing.
So we've seen that not only in the leadership roles, you know, and thank you to you. I mean, you've been a huge part of that in the past couple of years as well. So shout out to
Thank you.
for coming up and talking about it. And I think that's what we need to do. I think we need to talk about it. We need to highlight it and showcase it as much as we can. And beer festivals, obviously, you have that, just the consumers, large consumers in one area at a time. And I was at NEBCO for Summer Session Stouts and Sours event and walking around. And I want to say, I mean, I didn't start counting, but I want to say it was a 50-50 male to female. Yeah. And consumers and also people pouring. And so it's just highlighting that and being able to show that at a big beer festival like that is so super important. And we've been able to the Brewers Association, so that's our national organization, and we're the Connecticut Brewers Association. They just kicked off last year a diversity program. So they're now providing a lot of resources on a national scale for best practices for breweries in their tap rooms, whether it's bathroom signs or whether it's a sign or something on their page or their website, you know, that says. And the biggest thing that we always say is that beer brings people together.
Yes. And it should. And
so whether breweries showcase something on their website saying that, you know, everyone's welcome and these are things that we do. And, you know, we just had Pride Month. There was so many things going around the state. You know, Two Roads actually made a shirt, you know, brewed with pride, and it was a nice rainbow flag on there. And I bought one immediately.
Awesome.
So it's just having those conversations and having the platform to be able to talk about these things is just super important.
Because you know what, you know, I literally, like, for Hispanic Heritage Month, I want to showcase like Hispanic brewers, and then Black History Month. I want to make sure that we are getting, you know, black brewers or black folks that are involved, you know, in the industry, like out there, because a lot, I get to have these conversations where people will come up to me and they go, I feel comfortable asking you what craft beer is. I don't want to ask somebody else because I don't want to feel stupid. And those are the conversations, candid conversations that I have with people, because they have a comfort level with me because I'm an African American female, or I'm just African American, and they're like, you know, what's this craft beer that all these people are talking about? And I'm like, and so, but then I can have that heart to heart with them. But I want to open that up. I want to diversify that, because I think if we start having those conversations, then we will see like what we see in Pittsburgh. It's just like, you know, just folks coming up. When I do a, you know, craft beer festival, when I talk to folks, you know, I don't care what color you are. It's just, we're talking beer. Right. But people love the story. They're really excited that, you know, there's people in,
shout out
you know,
all three of you. You just see the passion behind your brand and the passion behind what you are doing. So I think it starts there, and just getting, you know, people just more comfortable with the conversations, and I mean, people are just so excited about it now. We've actually seen our insights, our demographics take a 10% shift. We were at 70-30 male to female ratio through all of our social media. Now we're 60-40. And that has in one year.
That's incredible.
And so to see that much of a shift in 1 year is just a precedent to what everybody's been doing across the state, and to all of you. So.
And we've seen the shift. And Alicia, like with Pink Boots, it's like, you know, knocking down doors. It's just like we're getting into it. And Pink Boots, you know, you know, Pink Boots is known like, okay, it's like, you know, the white females versus like the white males. And so we're like, you know, now that I'm a member of the chapter, it's just like getting that awareness out. Because I know we do the Two Roads Women in Brewing every year. And so people, you know, they come there, and, you know, it's a great thing. But now we're like, it's like expanding. It's like, let's show, yes, we've got women. Now we've got, you know, women, you know, LGBTQ. We've got women. We've got a black female in Connecticut, and we've, you know, got Latinos that are, you know, coming up. And that's how I think Pink Boots potentially can really kind of, open doors in a whole, different
Yeah.
area. So your thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
I completely agree. So our main mission is to educate, assist, inspire women.
Right.
That's what
Yeah.
we do. And like you said before, like, I don't care what color you are. Like, I don't care if you're purple. Like, if you want to learn about beer, then I am your girl. Like, I
That's
want
right.
you to come and join my meeting and learn about beer with us. And so that's the one thing I
Sit
love
down and have a
about,
pint.
yeah, exactly. I love Pink Boots because it's all about learning more about the industry and about brewing and about marketing. Pick a
Mhm.
topic, like, we will have a meeting on it and we will teach you everything you need to know. And if I don't
Right.
know, I'm going to reach out to you. And if you don't know,
No,
I'm going to
then we
reach
get-
out to
right.
Melissa. And, so, and that's what I love about our network too. So
Right.
I'm so excited that you're a member now and that you're on board and we can have a meeting
Meeting.
that's all about diversity and what can we do as women in the industry to bring
To-
that diversity in. How can we help too?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Because I have African American women like, inboxing me going, they're like, they go, you brew? And I'm like, yeah. they go, we didn't know that we did this. And I'm like, that's a conversation that you kind of, it baffles your mind because we should all be doing it, but because we're not, but it takes like that, take the baton and like kind of like just run. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pink Boots, I think we can have some really good conversations, about getting, just more women of, color
Yeah.
that are interested. I think that would, be great. And, just amazing getting the minds, of all females together. What's your take, Beauty, of the beer? What's your take on Melissa? I'm sorry, Melissa. I just love your Instagram handle because I'm like, that's right. And you know what? There's more beer women that are popping up like on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, they're like coming out from they're from Atlanta and they're like beer chick and this one, that. And I'm like, yeah, girl power. I literally, after beer festivals, sometimes knuckles hurt because we're like women are like fist bumping. We're like, girl power. We're like, that's right. And the guys are like, can you just pour beer?
Yeah.
They're like, is your girl, is your girl power like powwow over?
We're fist bumping too. Come
Okay.
on. Come on.
Yeah, you guys, we fist bump. Yes, I get it.
Yeah.
But we have a girl power moment,
Yeah, I
and
know.
some women are crying. They're like, "This is so cool." And they're like, "We're at a freaking beer festival." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "I know," but it's great. So, Melissa, Beauty of the Beer, what have you seen as far as diversity? What do you see? Where is the industry going? And have you seen a shift? Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So now we've got this new perspective from women and other women are listening to them. We've got that voice. It's again going back to representation. You've got people who know what they're talking about that are like you and come from backgrounds like you. So now you've got other women who are knowledgeable. That's why I joined Pink Boots as well, is because it gives me an opportunity. I thought I knew a lot about beer, but now I'm immersed in all these women who are actually brewing and have their hands in the day to day. And I'm learning so much from that organization and from everything that Alisa and Jobina are doing. So I think there's been a significant shift and definitely a lot more women involved in beer.
Yeah, and it's funny because every time like there's a craft beer festival like kind of just like comes up, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, people are literally, it's just now people. You're putting faces with the companies and the brewers.
Yeah.
And it's just very inviting. It's just, and sometimes you bring like a new something to something in industry. And, of course, with females, like we have to shake up, the industry in which we, shake up the industry. It's just like there's so much more that can be learned and people can be empowered, which is, amazing. And I know Jay Nicole from Brewers.
Yeah, Dr. J.
Dr. J.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dr. J.
Yes, huge.
She's amazing. We've connected on Twitter or Instagram.
I love her
and
Twitter.
so
she's
she's
incredible.
awesome. She's like, girl, she's like, you are holding it down in Connecticut.
Yeah.
She's like, yo. So we're going to have like, this, and come to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm so
Seriously,
excited.
Yeah, that would
you
be
should come to
amazing.
Pittsburgh. It is a beautiful sight to see. It really is.
It is. I just got back from Pittsburgh.
Oh,
it's
did
a
you?
beautiful city. It's underestimated,
It's totally underestimated. Yeah.
Got a lot of great beer there. And I saw a bunch of Fresh Fest people at the festival I was just at. all rocking their shirts.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
yeah.
representing.
Shout out to Black Brew Culture. They
right.
are the bomb. Love those guys down there, Sankofa. I mean, it really was just like a family affair. It's like going to a family reunion, and you're just like, everybody can't wait to get back. See you in, in August at, Fresh Fest. So that's great. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. I just love this conversation.
Absolutely.
Again, I have three of the, most knowledgeable, just incredible folks in the craft beer industry in Connecticut here with me. And so don't touch that dial. We will be right back. We're going to go on a short commercial break. We're going to come back and talk about the documentary One Pint at a Time. Be right back. Welcome back to the Talk Sip. I'm your host, Alisa Bowens-Mercado. Don't forget, every Thursday, join me here as we talk arts, culture, music, dancing, brewing, and much more. Today's show is very near and dear to my heart because I recently just got into the craft beer industry, and I am excited to just be in the industry. I'm making beer, I'm brewing beer, I'm coming up with recipes, I'm selling beer, I'm just doing a whole bunch of stuff. And so now with being in the industry, I have met some of, again, the best people from the guild, from breweries, Pink Boots. And last year, we were just talking about Pittsburgh before the break, and I had the incredible opportunity to run into a gentleman who is joining us now, Aaron Jose. He is capturing what we're talking about today, diversity in the craft beer industry. And I love this background music, but we're going to turn that down. Harry, okay. All right. This is not beer music. I can't do that. Yeah, can you get him music? You gotta think. You got any like beer fest music or something? I don't know.
Beer fest music.
Like a German drinking song or something.
So in Pittsburgh, he just was capturing what we all saw. And Aaron is here with us today. We're so excited. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you.
You and your crew flew in yesterday, and you have set up shop. And we're lights, camera, action. You are rocking and rolling. Can you please tell us, number one, your career, because you are very well established, and
Well, you're generous.
this isn't only an hour show, so I can't get the whole IMDb. So I'm going to have you take that away. But welcome to Connecticut.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining this conversation.
So let me start with just I got into film in like the late 90s. So I got my film associate's degree, and that's in Orlando at Valencia College, and started just working in the industry over there, because it was, at the time, it was a big, TV, movie, and it's still a big convention market down there.
Right.
So I kind of started, working as a lighting person, a grip, a stagehand type deal, and but always with my eye on making my own films. And I got into documentary because of the intimacy that, the aspect of it. So essentially building relationships with real people, which is what I'm doing now.
Yes.
And just being able to produce something with a smaller crew than having to manage a crew of hundreds and hundreds of people, which I don't think I have the personality for that. I'm more of like a small group type person.
Right.
But I was just being honest with myself.
Right.
But just started making documentaries, and I also work for the University of Central Florida, so I'm a video producer there, and I have been for 21 years, and doing educational videos, and I also freelance. But just to kind of circle back to this project, so
how did you stumble on a craft? Tell us about that. I always love those stories.
So essentially what happened is in 2013, we took a trip to San Francisco, my wife and I, and that was the first exposure that I had to something that was craft beer.
Okay.
I don't remember what kind of beer I was having, but it tasted different. It was interesting. It was delicious.
It was
very
interesting.
layered. And, it was around the time that my wife and I decided that we were going to, take trips and do road trips closer to home, because we live in Orlando. So we like going up and down the state and, to like Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. So we took a trip to Asheville.
There it is.
Wow.
And that's
all you had to say.
That's where the bug. So we went to this Italian pizzeria that had a huge tap list, and I had a flight. I didn't even know that it was called a flight at the time. And
You're like, Delta, where are we leaving?
I had something called Catawba Brewing Farmer Ted's Cream Ale.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And for some reason, it just blew my mind. And that beer just changed my life. It was a weird.
That is not a macro brand kind of beer there.
Correct.
Cream ale, yeah.
It was silky. It was just a little sweet. I mean, I'm still learning how to properly describe beers.
Right, beers. Okay.
But man, was it delicious.
Silky smooth. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
It was incredible.
incredible. So that was your first. That was
your
kind
of my first
experience.
The one that I remember. I'm sure
Okay.
it probably, well, like I said, it happened initially in San Francisco, but I don't remember what I was drinking necessarily.
Okay.
Because I was just too focused on the trip. But in Asheville, you learn to
Change
be
your
focused on the
life.
beer too, because
Right.
that's part of the trip.
Right.
At the time, they weren't too far out from having been called a beer city,
Okay.
city, maybe a few years out.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a big beer scene, and it was just amazing. And from that point, my wife and I started touring craft breweries. When we got back to Orlando, we're like, well, let's just start going
Good.
around. So everywhere we went to craft breweries. And at some point,
Mm-hmm.
this one I can't put a finger on, but at some point, we started playing a little game. I'm sure, some of us have these weird games that we play, and we're like, spot the person that looks like us. And see how far, we're just sitting there,
Yeah.
because we noticed it's very white in here. But not to say that in a bad way, because everyone's
Right.
friendly.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, what kind of beers you like? Want to try
Right.
this, try that. But the clientele was even very one-sided, and that was just weird.
Right.
I guess in my brain, right, the way it
Right.
was wired, I kind of expected for the brewer and the staff to be white, but on the clientele side, I was wondering, like,
Where's
wow,
all of it?
what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
And that just kind of set me on this path to looking into maybe why that's the case. And I just started doing some research online, and
Wow.
just so happened that I'm also pursuing my MFA in feature film production.
Wow. Amazing.
I've made features before, feature documentaries and short documentaries, but I figured since I work for UC, if I get free tuition, so if I don't
Figure
do
you
it,
get-
I'm going to regret it.
Well,
Right.
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 So I,
Do
and,
it.
you know, and
Yeah.
it was getting to a point where I was getting a little creatively stagnant. So I was like, okay, if I go to get my MFA degree, I'll get pushed. I'll meet new people. I'll get fresh
Yeah.
ideas. So then I chose that topic. I am going to explore for like a thesis film. So one
Right.
pint at a time is also my thesis film.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's something I don't share because it's not necessary
right
to
right.
share, but I'm saying it now, but that's also my thesis film. So then I locked in that topic.
Mm.
And that's when I really started digging, because you have to do research, because you're going to get graded, because you're running it through the MFA ringer,
Oh wow.
where you have
okay.
professors and classmates that are kind of helping you through the process, and you're helping them. It's a
Mhm.
big collaborative party over there. So I was researching, and that's when I found, I heard about Pink Boots.
Right.
But I heard about it because some of the brewers that I know locally in Orlando who are women, brewmasters and
Mhm.
assistant brewers, they're wearing pink boots. I'm like, what's up with that? And then they explain, oh no,
Right.
but that's to honor Pink Boot Society,
Yeah.
and biggest organization,
For women,
I'm guessing, in
yeah.
the world
Yeah.
for women in
With
beer.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm like,
Absolutely.
really? Okay, so my film is about women and minorities in the craft beer
Cover-
industry, and I'm not quite sure the exact direction, but I was just researching. So then I
Mhm.
liked the Pink Boots Facebook page, and within like a week or two, this article landed about the first Black beer festival is about to happen.
And you're like,
And I'm like,
you're like,
seriously? This is like stars aligning so
Perfect
fast.
timing.
right, right.
So I called my friend Jonathan. I said, dude, we got to go to Pittsburgh. This was like 6 weeks out from the event.
right.
We got to go to Pittsburgh. So I contacted Mike Potter and Dave Bracey, and I said, guys, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. We just want to come out there to do some recon, just meet people, network, maybe get some footage. No,
Do nothing.
nothing else. Just
Right.
to
Yeah.
get the ball rolling. Little did we know. So they're like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Come out, we'll introduce you to
Right,
everyone.
right.
We go out there and we meet all these incredible people, and the event drew about twice as many people that they
It
thought they
did,
would get.
yeah.
They got
That's
about
awesome.
Because it was the
1,200
first
people.
one. Yeah.
That's
They
incredible.
expected about 500 to 600. They got about 1,200 people.
That's great.
They got a proclamation from the mayor, I believe.
Yeah, but they had
and
a
all
presentation.
all this stuff at the
Awesome.
end.
Yeah.
It was like August 11th is Fresh Fest Day in the city of Pittsburgh. It was, and
Yeah.
we were just kind of like, let's just go get footage. So we shot everything, a little bit of
Yeah.
everything. They had
Yeah.
this VIP podcast with Celeste,
Right.
And Chris Harris from Black Hog in Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
or Black Frog,
Frog.
in Ohio.
We have
Let me
black
say
hog
that.
We have
hair.
black
We
hog.
have
No,
black
no,
hog
let me say
hair.
that. Let me say that correctly. I should
Which
say
animal is it?
Yeah. So it just turned into its own film. And the day after the event, Mike's like, "Yeah, I have a can release. Come out and check it out." I'm like, sure, chill, meet more
That was
people.
great.
That's where I met Alisa, and I figured at the time, since everything was kind of chaotic, we didn't get to conduct many of the interviews that we have in that short documentary, A Fresh Perspective.
Right.
We did them the following day, and everyone had all this perspective.
Right.
The day
we
after,
did.
and they were giving me all these great sound bites. And then I figured, well, okay, great. So A Fresh Perspective turned into its own piece because it was the first of its kind in U.S. history. So
Right.
it needed to stand alone.
Mhm.
And since February, we've been in about 13 film festivals. And next week will be an Indie Shorts in Indiana. And Indie Shorts is part of the Heartland International Film Festival.
Right.
And so Indie Shorts is an Oscar qualifying film festival.
That's
great.
gonna be great.
So
Exciting.
that's the first time that a film that I've done. It's got into a festival of that prestige,
That's incredible.
that's a big deal. So we are going to take parts of A Fresh Perspective, retweak them now that we're going to go back to Pittsburgh in a few weeks and film
Right.
year 2.
Yeah.
Right.
And turn that into a segment of One Pint at a Time. And so One Pint at a
That's
Time
awesome. Yeah.
will show you some of the people and initiatives that are diversifying the craft beer industry.
Absolutely.
So black brewers male, black brewers female, white brewers female.
Mhm.
I think that's about covers it. So we have John Renthrope, Cajun Fire in
Right.
New Orleans, you here in Connecticut,
Mhm.
Gina Molina's in Orlando, and then we have I call them the female warriors, beer warriors of Boegan's Brewing,
Yes.
down in Castleberry, because most of the the management and all the managers and the assistant brewer, they're all women.
Right. Right.
So there's
yeah.
2 dudes, and they just kind of like to take stay in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're part of it, and then I have Bastet Brewing out in Tampa, and I
Mhm.
believe Houston, who's the brewmaster of Bastet, he might be only the second or third black brewer in Florida. Period.
Wow.
So I think the first one is Chris Johnson from Green Bench.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Green-
incredible. But could you
So-
believe when you came? Could you believe your eyes? Like you went from Asheville to like Pittsburgh, and you were like, "They're out here." You're like, they exist.
Mhm.
I think we all said that at the beer fest. We're like, we actually do exist, and it's
Yep.
just like, all right, this is like, it was great. So, I mean, meeting you the next day at the brunch, it was a brewer's brunch, and that's when, the festival kind of like calmed. Everybody had drank a ton of beer, and then everybody, woke up, had a nice breakfast, and like,
Started it up again.
starting it up again. And we went to the can release,
Mhm.
which was amazing. And I think that's when we all kind of were able to meet and talk
Well,
and
yeah.
get
And just
some perspective.
reflect on the day before
for-
and give me all these great interviews. I was like, oh, perfect.
So
Very grateful.
it was just amazing. And that's what brings you back to Connecticut, is because you are one pint at a time.
Yes, changing things. You
Things-
guys are changing things and gals, changing things one pint at a
Mhm.
time. So that's why I titled it that.
I like
And
that.
that's amazing. Yeah, we're
great.
so honored that this is a platform that you're providing a platform through your vision and your film to.
And it doesn't end there, because
tell us.
we are also
Uh-huh.
developing
Love it.
a series that's tentatively titled Untapping America, where we're
Mhm.
going to go around the country to
Yeah.
find as many women, highlight as many women and minorities, be it however it is, LGBTQ folks that are in the industry that have compelling stories,
Right.
that have made a mark or trying to make a mark.
That is incredible.
We've
Amazing.
been shooting bits and pieces of that since this spring.
Nice.
We got a couple of things in New Orleans, in Austin. We went to the biannual Pink Boots conference
yep.
and
Oh,
shot a lot
okay.
of footage there. I don't know if you were there. If you were there, you saw us.
No.
But we
Next
were there.
year, Ali, we've all got to get in a caravan and just
Let's go.
pack,
Yeah.
pack up the beer and the bags.
Yeah,
and
Terry
let's go.
and Laura were amazing. They welcomed us with open arms, and we got tons of footage and also a lot of interviews. And I just totally beer geeked out because there were so many brewmasters whom I respect.
Right.
I respect more because I got to speak to them,
Mhm.
and it's just like, it's this thing where sometimes you don't realize because your brain is wired a certain way. You drink a great beer, like you think a dude brew it. Nothing wrong with it. You just think like that. But then
Right.
you hear a woman's touch went into that.
A woman touched
And it's
that
like,
fermenter.
whoa, it's
Yeah.
like it was funny because I told my wife because I interviewed Avery Swanson. I couldn't keep it together, man.
Right. And
I
for,
have a
for those
total
of folks that
brewer
don't
crush on
know,
her.
who don't,
This is the first time if she ever hears listens to, she'll know. But man, that like Jester
and Avery
King,
is she's from, if for those listening that don't know who Avery Johnson is, she's
Avery Swanson.
Swanson. Sorry, say I'm. Yes, that's your beer girl crush.
That was yes. I don't know if she's a Jester King anymore, but was a Jester King.
She was a Jester King. Well, we
Yes.
have to find her then.
But if you're talking about Annie, I did meet Annie.
Okay, yes, that's who I was.
I did
yes.
meet her at CBC 2 months ago.
That's amazing. So you're gonna
Nicely. Pico Brew.
okay, and
Yeah.
you know what? But that's great. It's almost like you're finding, these hidden gems in these different
Yeah.
states and little cities or back
And
corners of.
We've interviewed Dr. J too for the film, and I got her to sign the
Yeah.
book that she co-authored on Uncapped. I believe it was Uncapped.
Yeah,
I forget
she's
the title.
amazing. Yeah, but
But man, I was very intimidated, so I just made sure I did as much research, and I read all of her blog postings and
yeah.
her, because she's a doctor, and she's gonna come in there, like
She's
a
gonna ask you
professor. She's gonna
doctor stuff.
school me,
Right.
But it was funny because she was kind of geeking out at our setup because we had cameras and lights, and she was taking pictures of us, and we're looking at her like, she's
Should we
like,
take
well, I on the side, I teach some of this to students, and I always tell them, teach them about redundancy
Mhm.
and other stuff. So I was
Then you
she's
gotta-
normal. She's not like outer world necessarily, but
Yeah.
I believe she's gonna be at Fresh Fest.
Yes,
too,
she
in a
is.
few
It'll be
weeks.
like a huge reunion. Calling all beer brewers and enthusiasts, get out to Pittsburgh. It is a sight
Yeah.
to see. Seriously, if you can't make it this year, it's the second week in August. Usually every year. So it's a ton of fun. Getting all those folks together. So while we have you here, I mean, we've got Phil, we've got Alicia, we've got Melissa. Aaron, is there anything that you can say about the Connecticut beer scene that you've seen already, or any questions you have? Or
Well, it's actually, to be honest, it's a little embarrassing to admit, but like I only had her beer for the first time last night. Because she gave me a 4-pack or a 6-pack last
gave
year,
you a
and I forgot it
6-pack.
in my hotel fridge.
So
So when I got back to Orlando, I was like, oh. I was gonna share. I was gonna
Yeah.
share it with my wife, and I was like, oh,
he's
it's
like,
not here.
he goes, my beer is in the hotel fridge. I was like, whoever found that beer is having a
Yes,
good
so
time right
lucky.
now.
That's right. That's
So
right.
we have a case for him this time that
Nice.
you're
Yes.
you're
Good.
not going to leave
No.
Yeah.
in the hotel fridge, because hopefully you're going to drink half of
Yeah.
it before
But-
you leave.
So, and then we were also talking about. So I believe the only beer that I think is from Connecticut that I've had is Sip of Sunshine.
So it's
I
brewed here at Two Roads.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
contract
Yes.
brewer out of
Vermont.
Lawson's from Vermont.
okay.
Yeah.
So they
That's
do
the
house
only
it
one that I
here.
know I
Sip
can
of-
put my finger on.
and
I
say
think
you're
it's
for that.
Connecticut. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But Two Roads.
You stick with-
heard
stick
about it
with us.
yesterday for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Well,
here.
you know what? I'm gonna so tomorrow, because we're gonna be filming the rest of the day. We're going to Black Hawk. Shout out to them. We're going to my contract brewers tomorrow, so we're spending a whole morning with them.
Mhm.
And then we're
Great.
running around. We've got some events, but I'm going to take you to some of the breweries, and so you can try some of Connecticut's best. You are in New England IPA land,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I'm
land, country.
Absolutely.
And so-
I'm all
He's
hazied up
crazy.
these days.
Yeah.
I cannot get enough of that juicy, hazy,
Yeah.
dry hop, whatever.
So
Woo.
I'm gonna take you on a little beer tour. I
Good.
mean, you've got the two best here, so they know place to go. So we're gonna write down what you're gonna want, your hazy, juicy, all that stuff, and then we're
Yeah.
gonna make sure that we hit up some, Connecticut breweries.
Oh, yeah. And then, if we'll definitely come back because my wife wanted to be here. She couldn't make it this time.
Shout out to the wife.
Brigitte.
Yes, Brigitte.
Yeah.
And you have, if he,
I love her to
listen,
death.
and we love her too. Now you're coming back with a case this time and not just a 6-pack,
Right.
right?
Exactly. Well, I'm coming back with a cake.
Kick.
too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, folks, the time goes by so fast, but I really want to thank everyone, honestly, for being here. Phil, thank you. Keep doing what
Thank
you're doing
you.
at Connecticut Brewers
You
Guild.
do. You keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. We're so excited to be in the industry.
Yes.
Alisa, thank you. Hop Culture,
Having
Pink Boots Society.
Yeah.
This is incredible. You're just rallying up those women. Melissa, my beauty, beer, baby beauty, my girl. Thank you. So good to see you. Keep taking those fantastic pictures and keeping everybody looking good in the light of beer. And of course, the team here, Aaron, just thank you so
And
much.
Jonathan, and Alisa.
and Alisa.
Yeah.
And they are incredible. So you'll be seeing us bouncing around town tonight. As a matter of fact, we're going to be at Latin Night, Te Amo Tequila.
There
So
you
that's
go.
at like 9:30. So if you want to come down, find your rhythm, literally,
Yes.
and take some dance lessons, you know where we'll be. All right, folks, well, that is my time. Remember to always keep that glass full. Stay positive,
Yes.
stay focused. Until next time. Peace.